Day 7 of aggressively revising English vocabulary. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today it's gonna be the last day of my 7-day vocabulary challenge. So I'm super excited, super pumped about the fact that it's finally come into a close. And today I'll be revising some vocabulary topics that I've organized in this notebook. This notebook is the one that I use when I study English with my speaking partner. I've got a speaking partner, and whenever we practice our speaking skills together, we gather topic-focused vocabulary expressions using ChatGPT, and then I note down all of the expressions here in this notebook. It is currently 2:35 p.m. and I'm going to be revising around 10 topics from this notebook, and I'll also be reviewing around 200 expressions that are stored in one of my Google Keep Notes. So firstly, we're going to be deciding on which topics we want to go over. So the first topic, it's going to be money and society. And the second one is watching movies. Then I'll review discussing problems with others. I'll also review this one, creating a nice home. When it comes to famous people and fame, I've already talked about it several times, and honestly, at this point, I'm already fed up with this topic. So I think I'll talk about something else. I want to review this one, products, reviews, and complaints. I also want to review this one, tourist attractions and international tourism. I'll talk about this too, houses and apartments. Text messages, I think I should. Okay, I'll talk about exams as well. Let's say business and companies. Instill a sense of financial responsibility. I could say that these days, teenagers and also young adults enter into the workforce and they pursue their careers really, really early, because back in the day, people pursued careers and they pursued professional development in their maybe early 20s or after they graduated. But these days, even teenagers are able to establish businesses by putting their ideas and plans in motion. So I would say it's a good way to instill a sense of responsibility, a sense of financial responsibility in them, because as they run a business, they'll get to know how hard it is to operate a business, but at the same time, they'll also have to manage and take care of finances on their own. So it instills a sense of financial responsibility in them, as they don't but they don't depend on their parents financially. So now they've got to manage their finances on their own, and it is important that they don't they don't engage in imprudent spending as well, because that'll either make them go out of business, or that'll definitely how do I say it, that'll definitely hinder their ability to run their business successfully, I think. Farsighted is another way to say having or showing an understanding of the effects in the future of actions that you take now and being able to plan for them. So short-sighted is the opposite of it. Farsighted decision. Yeah, so for example, I would say that you also have to be farsighted not only when it comes to money, but also when it comes to your job. Imagine that you want to take a lot of time out from work, and then it is important that the decision is a farsighted decision, as you have to prepare yourself for the future, as well as most of the people, when they don't have a job, they also don't have any source of income. And so if you're a person who is relying on only one particular source of income, you have to factor in all of the contingencies and think things through in order to make a sound or farsighted decision that'll help you ward off stress or anxiety in the future or during the time when you don't work. Rely on parental support. So to put this sentence into practice, I want to talk about a time in my life when I had to rely on parental support, but I was also kind of autonomous autonomous and independent when it comes to my finances. So I started working when I was around 17. I had to finance my education by myself, and I worked my way through college. I remember not being able to concentrate my mind on my studies at all, but on the other hand, I was also satisfied with myself for the fact that I was able to finance my education and I was able to pay my own way whatsoever. But I did need to rely on parental support when it comes to food or other basic necessities, because I couldn't really because I didn't have to cook for myself. I didn't have to do my own laundry, and I'm gonna be grateful for that my whole life. So that's how I put it into a sentence. So I think when you make example sentences, in order to put these expressions into practice, it is important that you make sentences that you find relatable and that you can resonate with. Ideally, sentences that can describe your life, your feelings, and your personal matters, because this way they'll I think stay with you for a long time and you'll be able to retain the expressions longer. I'm gonna get on with the revision and I'll see you guys after I review 5 topics. It is currently 4:10 p.m. and I've just reviewed 5 topics. So I'm gonna say that as far as I've reviewed, all of these expressions are extremely useful, and I'm really thankful to ChatGPT for coming up with these advanced vocabulary expressions that are incredibly useful in our daily conversations. Because, for example, these expressions like hash out a disagreement or smooth over a disagreement, hammer out a solution, I really like them. And the thing about learning topic-focused vocabulary expressions is that it helps me keep my vocabulary studies on track and organized, because sometimes we learn expressions here and there, and it's hard to draw connections between the expressions that we've learned. Also, it's harder to retain them in the long term. But when it comes to these topic-focused expressions, when I talk about a topic, for example, when I talk about problems or discussing problems with others, these expressions are really likely to come to mind and I'll be able to recall them with ease. Whereas when it comes to learning expressions or picking up expressions that are not necessarily topic focused, we can have a hard time remembering them, I think. So now what I'm going to be doing is reviewing 5 more topics. I think it's going to take me probably 2 more hours, and after that I'll take a break. And I really want to take a nap right now because I didn't get enough sleep last night, but I have so many things to do. I'm also gonna meet my study partner in a few hours, so I think taking a nap is not gonna be a sound decision. It is currently 6:03 p.m. and I've already reviewed all of the topics that I set out to review. So this time I want to show you guys how I'm gonna put them into practice, because the thing is, okay, for example, this topic, tourist attractions and international tourism. So to review this topic, there are 21 topic-focused expressions. And firstly, what I do is going over each expression one after another by putting them into use in sentences. So I construct sentences using individual expressions. And then I think it's also really beneficial to just try to recall as many expressions as possible without looking at this notebook, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe creating a story using all of the expressions that I can recall without looking at the notebook again, without consulting this notebook. So that's what I'm going to be doing, because I think when it comes to topic-focused expressions, it is important that we're organizing them. We're drawing connections between them in our brains. So Now I'm going to be trying to recall some of them and put them into use right away. So I personally don't like traveling, but I think it's very common for people's lifelong ambition or aspiration to be to travel across the world. But I'm not one of them. And when I do travel, I really want to steer clear of touristy places because touristy destinations are usually teeming with people, like they're crammed with people, packed with people, and I really hate it. I prefer venturing off the beaten path and exploring authentic and unspoiled places that are not necessarily bustling with a lot of shops or people. Some cities like Loico, Inle, Bagan, I think they're able to act as a magnet for international tourists. And also food, I think Myanmar food and local cuisine can also draw people in. You know what I'm saying? Can appeal to a diverse range of travelers. And we can't deny that tourism is one of the sectors that can generate significant revenue and boost the local economy. So I think our country's tourism needs to be revitalized, but I also know that it is highly improbable at the moment. Because when our country was thriving, we were able to, I think the government was able to allocate a lot of resources to preserving historical sites. And so, all the travelers were also able to be steeped in our local traditions and history. And so it must have been really enriching. It must have enriched their life experiences when they traveled to our country back in the day. And that's all I can recall. Oh my gosh. Minimize environmental. So even now, there are a few expressions that I couldn't recall, like right away, like undergo significant renovations, or synonymous with luxury and comfort, or scenic, or minimize environmental impact. Started from today, I'm going to be using this strategy because I've just realized and grasped the importance of reviewing not only individual expressions, but also putting them all together and creating a story, drawing links and connections between them. Because when it comes to topic-focused expressions, there are like some expressions that can easily go unnoticed if we don't really try to recall them on our own. If we always consult our notebooks or our notes, like we may not be able to recall them on the spot. We may not be able to retrieve the information on our own. So we can say take center stage, or take center stage, I could say that most people I think there can be times when we have to put work at the center stage, at the center of our life. We have to put work at the center of our life. We have to, work kind of takes center stage and takes precedence over other stuff, including our health or family. But that is just gonna lead us to burnout, I believe. We're gonna end up burning ourselves out, and we'll definitely have an insatiable hunger for either a break or traveling after working for so many years without respite. And hold attention on. Currently, it is 7:35 p.m. and my 7-day vocabulary challenge has officially come to an end. And the vocabulary expressions that I've just reviewed are the ones that are particularly new to me. So I think I still need to. It's still gonna take a few more rounds of revision for me to be able to get a good grasp of all of the expressions. For example, some expressions like shrewd or enamored. Enamored is not necessarily new, but some expressions like shrewd or dilute public fears, messages, or fill in time, or taking people to task, in the ensuing years, stuff like that. They're new to me, but I also understand that the first time we revisit the vocabulary expressions that we've learned is always the hardest. It's always the toughest, and that's why I think most of the people can't summon up the enthusiasm or energy to review the expressions that they've learned. But I just want to let you know that over time it gets easier. So the revisions are going to take way less time after revisiting these expressions for a few times. So yeah, and now I want to talk about my thoughts on this kind of challenge. I think you should undertake this kind of challenge if you're somebody who cares about learning vocabulary expressions and expanding your vocabulary knowledge. And also, if you're somebody who is used to reviewing vocabulary expressions regularly, but then something happened and then you drifted away from vocabulary revision and now you want to plunge into your vocabulary studies again because you've been falling behind with them. I think this is really, really cool and beneficial. Sometimes you may have a lot of free time, and then instead of dissipating your time and wasting it doing stuff that are not beneficial to you, you can basically expend the time on revising loads of vocabulary and literally applying yourself to this kind of vocabulary revision. But this is definitely very aggressive. It is aggressively studying everything. So it takes a lot out of me, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you guys. Bye bye.